Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas from Mr. Joseph Trades. Yes, it is Christmas 2025. You might say, what are you doing here? I'll tell you in just a second. First of all, I want to, excuse me. First of all, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Here in North Georgia, it's nearly 70 degrees in the morning on Christmas. It doesn't seem very Christmassy, but it is what it is. I'm actually doing this because I'm waiting on some clothes to wash. And then I'm going to go to my parents' house and hang out with them today. So yeah, just thought I'd take a look at some charts and see where we are with some things. I've got some ideas too. If you look at the 4-hour NASDAQ, look what's happened the past few sessions. Remember a few days ago I drew this magical trend line? Well, wouldn't you know that price came up and nearly did a perfect test of it. It was a Christmas Eve rally to the pivot point, which just so happened to have a trend line above it. So it reached the pivot point and then some selling came in. And so now the question will be, going forward, do we continue to rotate in this consolidation? Or will we have a continuation to the upside and some buy-side liquidity targets? It's pretty obvious to me we're in a consolidation, a triangle type consolidation. Step back and look. Triangles tend to be continuation patterns, and so ultimately, since the trend has been up, it's very likely that when it breaks out, it will continue up. But before it makes that move, it might have a fake out breakout. You know how the markets are. They're always trying to inflict as much pain as possible on the most participants as possible. That's just how it works. It's a sick but interesting game. Okay, let's see. So let's check out the action. I might need to turn a light on a little bit. There we go. Now you can see the reflection off of my head. This is a 15-minute of the MNQ, and you can see the past few days. We've had some rangy activity, had a good test of the 200 EMA a few days ago that I caught. The long back to the VWAP on the open. That was actually an A+ setup. So that was nice to see. But and then it had a in the first hour of trading, it had a high here and a low here. So after it broke out to the upside, there was a bull channel the rest of the day. Channels can be a little tricky to trade until you are able to recognize them. When I first started this, I was always looking for strong trends. Strong trends only happen, let's see, let me consult my statistics. I keep stats on this sort of thing. Hold on. Let's see how often trends happen according to my stats. I should have had this pulled up, but that's okay. Just waiting for my clothes to dry so I can go on to my mom and dad, spend the day with them. But I'll show you. I keep several, when I mean several, I'm talking several spreadsheets of data on the markets. This is what I call trend or range stats. I've been keeping these stats since July 25th of 2024. And so what I do is I make a note if it's a trend or a range, what the volatility is, notes about the day in general. Let's see what my current stats are. And there are variations on the day, like is it a trend that develops into a range? That's what T/R means. Is it a range that then breaks out into a trend? Sometimes that happens. But overall, what I've found is to this point, through 351 samples, and I haven't kept stats this week. I've given myself this week off because it's the Christmas week, and price has been just acting sort of like people are celebrating Christmas, which is what you should do. But to give you an idea, so far range days account for 220 out of 351 sessions that I've kept track of, which is a 62.7%. So the point I was getting at is when I first started this, I was always looking for trends. But as you can see, trend days, according to my data so far, are only 59 out of 349, which is 16.9%. So the odds are to expect a trend. Let me rephrase that. The odds are is when you participate in the market every day to expect a range. That's what I meant to say. That's the ticket. So yeah, over half the time you're gonna get a range. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Because what are ranges? Ranges are just areas where the participants agree on value of price. Well, what's the purpose of a market? It's a place to match buyers and sellers. So if you're in a place where price is agreed on by the majority of the participants, then by definition, you're going to be in a range. And so for my stats, more than 60% of the time, the market, works very efficiently. But it's that other, well, I'm talking about over the course of the day. Most of the time, it's pretty efficient. But where I trade is based on imbalances. And so when I notice an imbalance, I'm trying to take advantage of that. And that's what my whole concept of price action and markets is based on. Yeah. Look at this trend line. I'm actually going to move it to make it a little prettier. That's what you can do with trend lines. See? This. Well, that's never mind. I'll just leave it be. But the point is, I don't feel like moving it. The point is, you can see how on the 15-minute we had this bull push up to this pivot point right here, R1 level, and then some selling came in, and it just so happened to be below this triangle bound, the upper triangle bound on the 4-hour. So this is the 4-hour. And we got a closer look on the 15-minute. So yeah, as a reminder, when you see overlapping bodies of wicks, when you see long tails on candles, that's range-like behavior. And only when you start getting a decisive move in one direction or the other, do you start thinking about, the fact that there are imbalances or levels where, price may be drawn to. All right, let's look at some equities now. I've recently, this caught my eye. This is Novo Nordisk. This is the weekly. Let's look at the really long view. For those of you who don't know, Novo Nordisk are a company based in Denmark, I believe, and they make things like the GLP-1s, like Wegovy, Ozempic, stuff that people use for diabetes, weight loss, all that sort of thing. So this is a weekly chart. What do you notice about it? Well, for many years it was in an accumulation, and then it had a. Let's take a look. This. So from about 2015 to 2020, it was like a five-year range that then broke out to the upside. Had a massive bull run. This is when the Ozempic got released into the market. It just got started. That was like around 2022, right? Reached a high of like 148 a share. And you got, what do you have here? You got a head and shoulders, right? Those can be reversal patterns. In this case, it actually worked. See if we can mark out this head and shoulders. There's a shoulder. People love some head and shoulders. I used to be a bigger believer in them. They still work when they work. In this case, it worked, but most of the time they fail, believe it or not. But in this case, it was actually textbook. So I'm going to change the color to see, because it was a bearish reversal. I'm going to make this an idea, I think, on my trading view also. Let's see, let's change that. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so you see how we had this head and shoulders, and then a massive move down, a massive move lower. Look at that. We'd say this is a bear channel, right? Well, keep in mind that on even a bigger time frame, anytime you have a channel, that's actually a flag in the original direction. So to expound upon this and see if we can spot a flag. It's pretty good. It's the upper bound of the flag that I see. Lower bound's not quite as pretty. But there's a reason I'm putting one of the bounds there, is because check out this volume. Check out the volume on this weekly candle. Let's mark it up. Okay, well, sort of, I guess when I move the chart it goes away, but so look at this volume. On equities, volume is more important than futures. I don't see anywhere in the past 15 years where there's been this high of volume. That's like capitulation volume. What this volume represents is participants who got caught in this down move and kept hoping that it would reverse up, so it would move up in this bear channel, which is actually a bull flag. It would rotate down. It would move up. They'd get excited. Oh, we're gonna move back, and it went down. After this, a lot of them said to heck with it, and they sold out. Well, those are weak holders. Who were the participants who sold here selling to? Who do you think? Were they selling to other weak holders, or were they selling to strong holders with a long time horizon who know the story of diabetes globally now? Diabetes, obesity, heart health, lots of issues that these GLP-1s help with. Well, a lot of these strong players gladly scooped up shares of this industry leader. Lilly is also an industry leader, but Novo actually, it develops things that hit the market before Lilly a lot of times, like their newest oral weight loss pill, which I think is oral Wegovy. That's pretty cool. So it's my opinion, let's get back to this volume. So this is the weekly, remember. Now we've got something else that happens a lot in markets. I have to change the colors now. A lot of times in markets, price tries to do things twice. And after it tries to do things twice, it starts heading in the other direction. So let's change the colors on here because we've got a different situation now. That's gonna be green. Yeah, pretty. Pretty, just like Christmas colors, red and green, right? That's not what I wanted. Where's my... Maybe, I don't know, I can't. I think the outline of this was a darker green. Oh, but what am I doing now? It's lighter green. Okay. Now the background looks the same, but the border needs to change. Hey, I think we're onto something. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, so it's my opinion that price had this climactic move, flushing out a lot of weak holders. And then it had what we call a dead cat bounce. It's not a very nice name, but a lot of times when you get a climactic move, you'll get it's like when people say they drop a dead cat out of a high-rise window, it'll hit the pavement below and bounce. That's why it's called a dead cat bounce. You'd think they could come up with something better than that. But so then price tested this level again, because there were a lot of participants who saw this weekly candle. Check it out. You saw this weekly candle, you might say, hey, this is a great place to get long. And it could have been, but in this case, price went up and came down and tested the stop losses of that weekly candle. And so, but then it seems like it couldn't keep going down in the bear channel, which is a bull flag. So it's my opinion that we're now going to start rotating higher. After forming this double bottom with this climactic bear candle, it's my opinion that price is going to rotate all the way from where we are now to it's about currently $53 and change a share. I think we rotate all the way to 142. I don't know how long it'll take. Look how long it took to get from the bearish breakdown of this Head and Shoulders to where we are now. It took from, let's see, September of 24, it took to December. It took over a year for this to happen. But if you have a retirement account and you're looking for something that's high quality, that has a good story behind it, to just hold and not look at it for a while, I don't think you will be disappointed if you buy some Novo Nordisk here and just let it marinate. As the worldwide, the global epidemic of diabetes and obesity continues, I think you'll be in good shape. Oh, another thing, I know some people like MACD. The only time I have a use for it is on the weekly chart, and it just so happens we have a bullish MACD divergence. So that's another what they say confluence. So we had from here to here, price went down, but the MACD made a divergence. And on the double bottom, let's check it out. There's a divergence there too. I can mark it up. So there's the first bottom, second bottom. See? It's a bullish MACD divergence. A lot of factors that make me want to go long, and in fact I am long. And I'm not gonna do anything with this for a few years. I got very fortunate with this one a few years ago. Believe it or not, you don't have to believe it, but I was accumulating in this area, and I took advantage of this. I was very fortunate. That was a nice thing for my retirement account. And yes, I did sell out before this bear dump. There was competition coming from Lilly, and this name is more commoditized now than it used to be. They used to be the only game in town during this run up. Then when Lilly started coming in the scene with their products on the market, they had competition, and then there were reimbursement issues with insurance, so I got out. But now I just think it's like a value play, with still a good story. So that's my pick. My New Year's pick is long Novo for quality. I'm not talking about speculation like quantum names. Those can be fun too. But if you want to put something in a retirement account, that's quality, that has a long-term story, boom, there you go. All right, well, I think I just heard my washing machine finish up, so I'm gonna go put things in the dryer and pack up and get ready to go over the river and through the snow. Although there's no snow because it's 70 degrees outside. But until next time, Mr. Joseph Trades here, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas, and may peace be with you, and see you on the next stream or the next video.